Happy Monday. It's Get Motivated with Misha Monday. We're back today to talk about planning. I'm such a big advocate of it. Like, I know people personally that literally go throughout their life winging everything. That's okay for every once in a while. You cannot do that as a formal plan, right? So that means that if I made plans to go to dinner, but, for whatever reasons, the person I was going to dinner with canceled, then okay, I still want to go out, I'll wing it, and I'll still go out, but I'll just find somewhere else to go, right? So that's winging it, because I'm already dressed, and I don't want to go back in the house, right? But I think people confuse winging it with adapting. They are not the same thing. So I want to talk about planning today, because planning is very important, not only in the personal realm of things, but it's very important in the business world. You cannot wing anything in the business world. Yes, you can adapt. Yes, things will come up. But as things come up, what do? You deal with them accordingly, okay? It is always better to have a plan in place and something not fall through, and then you follow up with a plan B, which you wouldn't have if it wasn't for you planning, right? So how can you get better with planning? First off, it starts with habit, as most things do. You want to get into the habit of planning things ahead of time. You want to start thinking about, even down to what you're going to wear to work the next day or for the entire week. From you just taking that time out of your day during a certain time slot in the week, you save so much time going forward because you've already gotten that done. So as you can see, planning goes hand in hand with setting goals. You guys know I'm really big on setting goals. I'm the mascot for setting goals, right? Setting goals is so important because it's what keeps us on track. It's our checklist for what we should be doing every day and what we should be focused on and what's a priority. So goals go hand in hand with planning as well. So what is it that's important to you? Okay? Think to yourself, what is it that's important to me? And how am I going to go about achieving that? So once you ask those two questions to yourself, that's when the planning stage comes about. Okay, you know what you want to do. That's your goal. You write that goal down. You might even put, a visual of it on your vision board, which I hope you guys have all created by now. And then you sit there and you start planning for how you're going to accomplish what it is that is so very important to you, that it was so important that you had to make it a goal of yours. Meaning that once you branded it a goal, that means that you branded it a priority, right? So you sit there, you think about how it is that you are going to go about achieving that thing that's so important to you. And then after that, what do? I hope it's plan for the what ifs or plan B. I at least think you should have a plan A, B, and C. At least have two alternate options in the case that things don't work out the way that you want them to. Okay? Now, we are sometimes thrown curveballs where even the plan B and C, it doesn't directly fit because it's something that might have come up with your plans for plan A. At that point, that's when you would adapt. Adapting is not, what do you call that? It's not going to be the end all be all the time, because then that's when you get in the habit of winging things. It's going to be, okay, well, this didn't quite work out like I thought that I wanted it to, and it doesn't look like plan B is an option, or plan C, or maybe plan B is somewhat of an option, but you got to tweak some things. So, or there's some certain things that you're going to have to do now that you're going about plan B that you didn't initially really prepare for. You planned for it, but you didn't prepare for it. At that point, that's when you're adapting, because it's like, okay, well, what can I do with what I have? What are the resources that I already have that will go along with the backup plan that I've already set in place? That is what adapting is. Winging it would simply be, oh, well, I'm going to just wait to see what happens, and I will basically just go along with it from there. Meaning that you really don't have any control of the situation. You're just kind of taking whatever comes at you, and that is the end all be all for you. That is your answer. That is your destiny. It is not something that you typically want, but you're just okay with it because you would rather settle than to plan for and adapt. So what I want you guys to focus on this week is planning. If you haven't already set out to start going after those goals, even if you haven't put it on paper yet and it's in your mind, put it on paper. You know, if you don't want to do a vision board, that's fine. At least write it down on paper so that you can know what it is that you should be focused on day in and day out. Okay? That goes for personal goals. That goes for business goals, which you should have goals for both. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to have business goals. You might have a goal to get a promotion or a raise within the next few months, right? Because you feel like you need more money. That should be on your goals list. You should have a goal set for that. It's not something that you would just sit around and wait on and, you know, just say, well, I hope for the best, let me just wing it, because that's winging it, right? It's something that you would say, you know what? I hope to get a raise by this time frame, whether I apply for another position within my company and get promoted, or I apply for a completely different job altogether. Either way, I am planning and I am speaking into existence that this is something that is going to happen, and I am going to work towards it, right? Because it's good to plan, but you also have to have a plan of action. And once you get a plan of action, you have to be willing to put in the work. I mean, it says it in the Bible, faith without work is dead. We can hope and wish all day, you know, that something is going to happen, but what are you going to do to get yourself there? Are you going to put in the work? Are you serious about it? Is it really a priority, or are you just saying it because you think that it sounds good? So, other than that, that's simply what I have to say about planning today. Really cookie cutter for me, because it's not hard, and I think that people make it harder than it really is, or, you know, they get discouraged and say, well, I don't like planning for stuff because stuff don't always go the way that you plan. That is very true, and that is why you have to have a plan A, B, and C, and you need to be prepared to adapt as things are thrown at you. And when I say adapt, I want to emphasize again, adapting and winging it is not the same thing. When I say adapt, that means that it directly aligns with what you are trying to do. So adapting is in the moment, you're coming up with an additional plan. Just to elaborate on that, because I didn't really say that earlier, that's what it means to me. In the moment, you're coming up with an additional plan. So plan B is kind of gotta, you know, kind of gonna work, but you just need to add this or tweak that. In that direct moment, you're planning on your toes. What's gonna best work for this backup plan, and how can I best go along to it? Solutions. That's what adapting is. Adapting is creating solutions. Winging it is not creating a solution. Winging it is accepting what was thrown at you and basically convincing yourself that that the outcome is okay, because it doesn't necessarily bother you, but at the same time, it's not what you were trying to do anyway. You know what I mean? So if you guys ever have any questions or need any help with, you know, setting goals, I definitely have so many resources that I've created myself. If you ever just want to conference and, you know, with me and talk about it, definitely reach out to me, message me. I'm really good about getting back to people, and we can discuss how you can start setting those goals for 2017 and planning for your future. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. I feel like it's going to be a great week. It's going to be a productive week. Time is flying by. As you can see, January is almost already over. We're in the last full week of January. So definitely, if you haven't started, get to it so that your 2017 can be as effective and efficient and productive as you want it to be, so that you are getting those things that you hope and wish for. All right, guys, have a great day. Stay ambitious, stay motivated.